Let me tell you the story of how I met my girlfriend, Ashley Jones. Way back, 6 years ago, is when I met Ashley. So, I've actually never really told this story to like a bunch of people. I've told like my sister and my parents and stuff. I mean, not like everything, just like a vague story of it. But I thought I'd share it with you guys because I thought it would be kind of nice. So, oh God, like, let's go apart. All right, I'm just gonna do this. So, I met Ashley a couple of years ago. I would say it's been about 6 years I've known her now. It's actually a pretty crazy story of how we met. It was solely by luck and chance. I used to go to a boarding school up in Ojai, California, and not because I was a bad kid or anything like that. I was pretty bad when I was young. But I went there my junior year of high school, and I graduated high school from there. And it was cool. Like, you know, I have plenty of stories from boarding school and stuff. I'll talk about that stuff in a different video. So one day I was in my dorm room by myself, and it was a Saturday. And I remember it because it changed my life. Because I met the love of my life. I was watching a Jacksepticeye video on YouTube. I don't even remember what his video was about because it was just years ago. But I was watching a video by him, and at the end of his video, while he was talking, he said that he is supporting this app called Amino. Now, Amino is a video gamer platform app where people can download it and make an account. It's free. And basically go to different chat rooms, so to speak, similar to kind of like Omegle in a way, but you don't video chat, it's just like text. And you can like join like Harry Potter clans, Minecraft, you know, first person shooters, horror stuff, all kinds. It's kind of like a fan base like Wattpad thing. I did have friends at boarding school, but you know, I was just kind of wanting to talk to people outside of school, I guess, and connect with other people that had similar interests like me because I'm into video games a lot and stuff like that. And I really like Harry Potter and like Minecraft and stuff. I decided to download the app. And I know that after I downloaded the app, I made an account. And I was just scrolling through it and I saw a Harry Potter fan base thing. And I was like, hey, I like Harry Potter, so let's join it. So I joined it, and you know, I joined like a couple little chat group things, whatever. And you know, it was okay. Like, I mean, we just talked about Harry Potter, and there were some people that were like kind of creepily obsessed with it. So I was like, I like it, but not like to the point where I'm gonna like write erotica about it, basically. About an hour or so into the app, I spent a lot of time on it. I saw this girl, and she had, I read her profile, and she had a very adorable picture, and it was Ashley. Her name was Ashley R. Jones. And I was like, oh, okay. She's like really cute. And my intention was not to just talk to her because I thought she was hot, basically. I just genuinely wanted to get to know them. And so I read her profile. She was older than me. She was, at the time, she was in her 30s. I mean, late 20s. At the time, I was 18. And so I was like, okay, sweet. I mean, she's older than me. That's fine. But so I texted her, I said a hey and stuff like that. And she, like, not too long after, responded, hey. And so she was very shy at first, obviously, because she's just talking to a total stranger she doesn't know. But we started chatting back and forth a little bit and just kind of getting to know each other and stuff like that. It was very, very like, you know, very basic conversation like, hey, what's up? How are you? You know, where are you from? That kind of thing. You know, it just shot off. And so over the course of months, we basically just solely texted on the app. Eventually she did give me her phone number and we started texting by that. I don't think we called until like a couple months in. Like it was a while before we like called on the phone. But after about 6 to 7 months of talking, I was finding myself being, you know, liking her more than a friend. And I was like, what are these feelings that plague me so? I feel this warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart and my gut, and I feel butterflies when I talk to her. I'm like, what kind of devilry is this? But I was very, very unsure about, you know, exploiting that because I mean, I was in my mind, I was like, I'm 18 and she's almost 30. And I'm like, she's not gonna fucking be into a young dude like me who's nerdy and likes video games and Minecraft and all that kind of stuff. Because on her profile, she seemed very sophisticated. Like she was into she was a psychic and into tarot. And she's like done all this stuff in her life. And I was like, dude, I'm still in high school. So after that, we started talking on the phone and getting to know each other. Eventually, we we just talked about, each other's day. I told her some stuff about my life. She told me stuff about her life. And it was, we started to get to know each other a little bit better and we started to grow close. And I started to find myself being like, I like this woman. she's not only was she very beautiful, but just, I felt comfortable talking to her. Have you ever met someone and you guys start talking and immediately you guys just click? Like, I'm sure everybody knows this, but it's like it's like you've known each other for years. And that's what it was like with me and Ashley. And so after a good while, I eventually was like, I confessed my sins and said that I like you a lot. And to my surprise, she returned the favor. And so we started dating, but she lived in Colorado and I was in California, so it was long distance. But we stayed together until I graduated high school, over a year, basically. And we had a falling out, sadly, and we broke up because I don't think we just weren't ready for that much of a relationship. It was hard because it was long distance, and I think we just weren't on the same page. And we just had kind of different terms in how a relationship should be, I guess. I don't know. But we took off and we kind of, we still every now and then talked, but not as much. And I went off and, sought out other girls or because we were broken up. And so then, and she was with this guy for like a couple months, but then it just kind of went down the hole, same thing for me. And then after a while, we got back together because we realized after some time apart that I didn't feel the same with other people that I felt with her. I felt like she was my rock and she had my back and I could talk to her about anything. I could, I'm not afraid to be myself around her. And she did accept me for who I was. I have a lot of flaws that I need to work on with myself, and so does she, and so does my parents, so does my sister, so does every fucking lad in the whole world. Everyone's not perfect, but she accepted me for who I was, and I think that was one of the big reasons that drew me to her, because she wasn't uncomfortable with me or weirded out or, I don't know, whatever it is. But when I was younger, I was always judged for my interests in life, and I got bullied for them physically and verbally at school and stuff when I was in middle school and some in my early high school years before I went to boarding school. Because I used to go to this school called Trinity School of Texas. And I was there from kindergarten to about start of 9th grade. Then I went to Catholic school. Then I went to boarding school. That's a whole nother cup of tea. So we'll get into that in another video. That one would be probably, that's a more, I'm going to be very blunt here, very emotional and intense story. So that's more serious to talk about. So that's for another time. I was always bullied a lot in school for my interests because where I grew up, it was very, very a narrow road. You don't just, it was either as a man, and where I grew up in a very small southern backwater country hick town in Texas, in like the deep south of the bayou. It was like, it was basically like people wearing cowboy hats, buckled boots, and being like, howdy, y'all. But there's a lot of racism and homophobia in there. And I was bullied because I was called gay for my interest, because it was abnormal in the town and stuff like that. Because men in that town, like guys, were just like into football and like sports and hunting and fishing, and you're just like, you're this big buff jock and you gotta be tough and you can't show any sadness or cry, you're a pussy. Like that kind of, it was legit. Like it was exactly like that. And I got bullied a lot for that in school. And because while people, it was because I got excluded from a lot of things. I was never invited to people's houses. If I'm gonna be honest, I didn't really have any friends because they thought I was weird. And they would look at my hobbies as gay or just not what they're used to seeing, I guess. And I mean, I've moved on with that in my life. I've come to terms with it. I mean, there's still some things I wish I could figure out, like why, why would you attack someone who just cares about something that's different than you? Like, everyone can like what they like. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's even weird to you. If you think it's stupid or weird, as long as it's giving nobody harm, as long as it's making them happy, then there's nothing wrong with that. My classmates were out playing football and tackling each other in the grass. I was inside studying how a musket works in like 7th grade. I was reading Greek and Norse and Egyptian mythology. I was reading fantasy and medieval books. I was writing poems and stories and learning how to speak in Shakespearean English. Like during recess, I would go sit in the library by myself and read Shakespeare in like 6th grade because I liked it. I thought it was cool. I love history. I like the way people spoke back then. It was so beautiful, and just like the way they dressed with the long coats and the hats and the feathers and the multiple rings on their fingers, and like, I don't know, like the neck sassage and the cool boots and swords and muskets and ships, carriages, taverns. It was awesome. And a lot of people didn't like that because they didn't understand it. And I was bullied for that. But she accepted that for me. She loves that I like that stuff. And she's willing to be open and support me and ask me questions in it. And that's one of the things that... Sorry. That's one of the things that she accepted me for. Ah! Kitty! Oh! Sylvie, say hi. Hi. After discussing and having kind of a very serious conversation about what we wanted from each other in a relationship, we got back together. And it was one of the happiest days of my life because I truly did miss her when she was gone. I really did. It felt like a part of me was lost in the darkness without her being my woman, essentially. I was very not only attracted to her as a man, but I was also just like, we had a lot in common. She supported me in a lot of my writing and in a lot of like my pursuits. A lot of my interests she didn't think was weird or abnormal like most people did in my life. And she was just a cool person altogether. She's also into like a lot of like Marvel stuff, like superhero movies and Lord of the Rings and action. She has like some action figures and stuff like that. Me personally, I'm not into that kind of stuff. I like more historical, horror, very dark and serious movies. But it is a nice change of pace when we do watch movies like that together. But yeah, she's into like all that kind of stuff. So yeah, she's into tarot. She is a psychic. As of right now, she doesn't do it as much, but she still dabbles in it. And she's been a psychic for years and years, since she was about 10 or 11 years old. Pretty much. That's when her dad bought her first tarot deck. And she started kind of getting into it and studying it a bit. But she's very, very good. She's got over 100 decks, has like an altar with like witchcraft stuff. Fucking cool. Me personally, I don't believe in all of it. Like, I'm not a very spiritual person. She's told me that she thinks I'm more spiritual than I give myself credit for. I do too now, later in my life, as I've gotten a bit older, now that I'm 23. I do believe I am spiritual, not in a religious sense, just kind of with the world, maybe, or nature, or whatever, however you want to put it. Everyone has their own chi. But I don't know. I've always, I'm going to go on a bit of a tangent here. I've always I guess I've been against religious conformity because you always believe that you have to have faith. You have to worship some god or some deity or whatever, and grovel on your knees for it. And I just kind of looked at that realistically as a person. I'm like, that's stupid. Like, why would I do that? Like, it's just, I'm going to be sitting and praying to some dude who's up in the clouds saying, hey, what's up, bro? Like, I just, that doesn't fly with me. But it kind of bled into my spiritual life. Like, I don't really meditate. I don't really seek stuff like that out because I think my family, my mom's she's a Christian. She's very religious, comes from a very religious background. And when I was a kid, she would always make us go to church and Sunday school, and I fucking hated it because I didn't believe in it. Even when I was a younger kid, I just saw it as weird or strange or just kind of stupid, to be honest. Like, we're gonna worship this thing that is just, honestly, it's just not real. It's just not. She kind of got me into it. I've I've been a bit more spiritual with myself. I'm trying to be more open to the world in that way. It's hard because I'm a man that looks at things very practically, very realistically, and scientifically. And so I like to be like, I like to I like to make sure I can prove it first before putting a label to it. Anyway, long story short, you know, she's very awesome. She's very magical and spiritual and majestic and stuff like that. She's a very sweet woman. And to this day, we're still together. We're almost 3 years together. And we're living together now in Colorado. So I drove across 5 states to live with her from California to Colorado to be the love of my life, because she is my rock. She is my heart, the one that I will always have my back for. And I know she has mine. And all relationships have up and downs. You have arguments, you have flaws, people have flaws. We're not perfect. But for me, she's the one. I love her very much, and she just is fabulous, and a fabulous person. She's done so much for me that no one would ever do for me in my life. So basically, that's the story. I mean, it was basically by chance, essentially. And we were long distance literally until 3 months ago. This is the first time that we've met. 3 months ago is when we met in person for the first time, is when I moved out here to her. And it was a pretty big culture shock. It was a pretty big change, because I was like, oh my God, you're real. Like, you're not just this digital being that I made up in my mind to not feel lonely anymore, or whatever, whatever. But you're a real person. I can like feel with you and hug you and like talk to you and stuff like that. It was a very big change, but it's a change that's amazing. So basically, if I had never downloaded that Amino app, and she said she downloaded it because her game that she was playing was getting shut down and discontinued, and so she downloaded another game type app to check it out. And so there were so many different, fan bases on there. I could have just easily went to Minecraft or horror or writing, whatever, and we would have never met, and I probably would not be sitting here today, right now, in this bedroom at her house, talking about this if I had chosen something different. And when I do think about that blows my fucking mind. That just by chance that happened, and that's what tells me that it was fate. That's the story of how I met my girlfriend.